Hello everybody, welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today we're going to talk about Massacre Girl. Before I do, we're going to give a shout out to Jacob. Yep, I have no last name, just Jacob. We appreciate you, Jacob. He is a patron of the channel, and if you would like to become a patron, please give a look at the patron / Cure for the Common Game. But let's talk about Massacre Girl, shall we? 5 mana 4/4 assassin. Now, I'll admit, when this card was first previewed, I looked at the name and I went, really? That's the best they could do? But apparently, she is a character that has been mentioned a while. I don't know. But, Menace, when she enters the battlefield, each other creature gets -1/-1 to end of turn. Whenever a creature dies this turn, each creature other than her gets -1/-1 to end of turn. So, they don't have to actually die in this way. They just have to die this turn. Now, the other night, it was late. I didn't have to work the next day, and I remembered that free War of the Spark draft on Arena, and so I was like, you know what? I don't even play Arena, but I'll check it out, and I got blown out by Massacre Girl. I did. Anyway, so obviously it looks like we're here to kill creatures. So let's. I've got these. How I'm experimenting with this today, showing you in categories, not in by what they card types rather. Got a Soul Ring, a Leaden Mirror, and a Bantu's Monument is pretty much the only artifact ramp I've got. There's some instants and stuff. Whisper Silk Cloak, just in case Menace is not enough. Well, and, you know, Shroud. Shroud's decent. Turmoid's Crypt, because I figure, well, Turmoid's Crypt I tend to be crutching on quite a bit. We are putting a ton of stuff in the graveyard with this deck. I mean, we're killing things. And the graveyard for most decks, y'all know, it's just a second hand. It's not that, you know, putting it in the graveyard's not that bad. Phyrexian Vault, because, yes, there are other better, especially vaults, but second creature to draw a card, if you can do it the turn she comes in, the -1. The idea behind playing her is she's going to be the only thing left out the turn she comes out. I mean, she's just going to cascade kill everything. Ooh, maybe cascade was the wrong word. Dingus Staff. Now, this card, I do not understand. To my memory, it's actually only been printed this one time in Weatherlight. I don't know, I could be wrong. But wow, it deals 2 damage every time a creature's put into a graveyard. I mean, and we're killing creatures. Like left and right killing creatures. So, imagine playing this, you know, this is your turn 4, and Massacre Girl is your turn 5 against tokens. It's still like, what is it, way under $1? Dingus Staff, one of the best kept secrets. So let's look at some creatures. Now, got, you know, a few of these guys that actually come back. We need, that's the problem here, is that we need essentially creatures to sacrifice. We need 1 toughness, 2 toughness, 3 toughness, because we want to, the worst case scenario is we play Massacre Girl, or we can't play her because there's no 1 toughness things, and if we played her, she would just do nothing. So we've got to kind of, you know, push that along with our skeleton and whatnot. Harbinger of Night is another card that's only been printed in Mirage. Now, there are ways. I don't have a Dragon Blood in this deck, but if I was already running Dragon Blood in a black deck, I might. Because the idea here is you play Harbinger of Night, and you put the -1/-1 counter on each creature. Now, Hapatra loves this card. Y'all know that. Or at least my Hapatra does. But the problem is you're only getting 3 turns out of it before it kills itself. So at some point in time, you're going to need to put +1/+1 counters on it to negate those -1s and keep it around and keep passing those counters out to every creature. So, hence the Dragon Blood. I'm sure. I say Dragon Blood, there's better versions of it, I'm sure. But Harbinger of Night, still going to kill things. And that's what we're here to do. Magus of the Abyss is going to kill things. Shoot, yeah. So is Royal Assassin. Now, it's an old card. It's been printed 14 million times. But you know what? It's still good. Because creatures without vigilance tap when they are declared as attackers. So you just swat them down before they actually hit you. I mean, I love Royal Assassin. It's been a great card since the beginning of the game. Mortivore in all graveyards. That's sick and disgusting, and I love it. Yes, let's play with 3-cent Gravedigger, because in this deck, it's not real bad, you know. Comes into play, you return another creature, and that's going to work real good with stuff like the Undertaker. You can discard that extra land you don't need to bring the Gravedigger back, and then you cast the Gravedigger, and I mean, yeah, you just keep getting your dead dudes back. I've got a Sorceress Queen in there just because the turn it goes off, she's your 1. Yeah, that's right. She's your 1, but she can tap to make something else your 2 to keep the chain going. So, that's neat. Paul Ulamog's going to come in, and he's going to bring a Eldrazi buddy with him. That's your 1 and your 2. By 1 and 2, I mean your 1 toughness and your 2 toughness, so that she can, when she comes in, she kills all the 1s instantly, and then all the 2s die, and then 3, you know. Although the math is actually way better than that, because it's for each thing. Anyway. Eternal Taskmaster, again, play it from the yard. White of Precinct 6 in your opponent's graveyards. That's pretty sweet. Now, this would be a perfect deck for all of the Grave Pack cards. They're not in here. Those things have just kept climbing in price. Festering Goblin. Now, this is exactly what we want to be doing, right? I mean, he's a 1, and then he passes out a 1. Oh, it's so good. Death Greeter. Just into a graveyard. That's pretty nice. Ascendant Evencar is, I mean, it's just a good card regardless. I mean, yeah, it is 6 mana. That's a little much, but that's what we got. I didn't realize the Deathbringer Regent was so cheap. It's the pre-release foil here, what is that, like 30 cents or something? I mean, it's not bad. Would you pay 7 mana for a board wipe that left you with a 5/6 dragon? That's what you're doing. I mean, it's not bad. Win big, Mama's Fallen Angel. It's just a good sack outlet, and especially if you need those last few points of damage, and oh, you're at 10, let me slap the cloak on, and we will finish the job. Now, Vampire Hexmage was the first one of the trio. By the way, amazing art, I still think so. Good job, Eric. And I put the Vampire Hexmage in there for Planeswalkers, because I was like, it's a decent card. There's a lot of things with counters. The uptick in playable Planeswalkers right now, she is a 2 mana kill a Planeswalker spell. So I was like, that's not bad. And that led me to Hex Parasite. So I went, huh. And that led me to Thief of Blood. And that just made me want another Dark Depths, which I don't have. We'll get to the other stuff here when we get to those categories. But some 1/8/7 creatures like Necrotal. Now, I'm liking the Dreadshade because, I mean, we're mono black and we need 3s just to make sure. And even late game, if you were in a... This is... Sifter of Skulls. When it dies, it's going to put a token into play. So that's all right. The new Vindictive Vampire. another creature you control dies, so it's gonna get nice too. Now, here again, it's another. What do they call these? Aristocrat cards. I've heard that term thrown around forever, but I've never actually known what an aristocrat meant. I think it's this style card, you know. Now, let's talk about Hunted Horror and why it's so painfully overlooked. In this deck, it's perfect. Yeah, 2 mana 7/7 trample, but there's a good chance that those 2 3/3 centaurs you have to give somebody, number one, those are political bargaining chips. Absolutely. Hey, man, you're getting really, really beat down by that player. Here's some blockers. So, and it puts tokens out there for Massacre Girl to kill. So, Nightmare, we're running mono black. I needed a big beater that flew, and I was like, you know what? Nightmare. Eastern Paladin, just to pop a green creature. Roughly, what is it? 20% of the creatures are green. Multicolor is the thing. Night Incarnate. Now, I like this one. If you don't have the board wiped already with Massacre Girl, and you can deal 4, this is just going to wipe the board because everything else gets another 3. Vampire Nighthawk's just a good solid creature. Soul of Innistrad. This is really not bad. Drakestown Forgotten. Yeah, that's a 1/1 counter for each creature in all graveyards, so that's nice. Next, we have the quartet, as it were. Fleshbag Marauder, Merciless Executioner, Slum Reaper, and Plague Crafter. All, essentially the same thing, the Plague Crafter being, of course, the pinnacle of them. Now, it's an awful lot of creatures, an awful lot of killing. Here, let's take a break and look through our lands. Haunted Fingraf, get a random creature back. Rogue's Passage, make sure something gets through. Some draw with the Baron Moor. Mortuary Mire. You get a creature back when it comes into play. That's not bad. And, of course, Cabal Stronghold, because we are running an insane amount of just basic swamps. Now, sure, instance, why not? Of course, now, Songs of the Dam in this particular deck is, well, I say it in this particular deck, in a lot of black decks, if you're rotating around having creatures in your yard, like, this deck doesn't really rotate around that, but it kind of, as a side effect, puts a lot of stuff in the graveyard. This can be a late game blowout. Now, granted, you're not gonna, it's not early game ramp, it's not. But it's, I draw it on turn 9, and wait a minute, I can turn 1 mana into 8. Tragic Slip, of course, it's going to help that turn, for sure. Of course, a Dark Ritual. Mausoleum Secrets. I believe this is the first time I've played Mausoleum Secrets. That's the beautiful part about Archidect, is that after I list the deck, I add the deck to my collection, and as I enter the next deck in, or every other deck after that, if I own the card, it'll pop up green, and it's really neat. You see the cards that you're like play a lot, of course when you order your collection, it's like, from highest to lowest, it's like swamp, forest, island, plain, but Ghoul's Feast, this is nice too. This is one of those cards I don't know that I've ever seen cast. It's a Howl from Beyond for the graveyard, which is probably what should be that way anyway. And then Reaping the Graves. Now, we are not storming off here. We're not. However, y'all know just as well as I do, you have sat there while somebody has played two or three spells a turn is not, uncommon. And even in our format, late game, 5 and 6 is not that uncommon. And my idea here is worst case scenario, I'm going to spend 3 mana to get 1 back to my hand, which is bad. You know, it's a bad rate. If you consider Raise Dead decent, which it's mostly unplayable, but that's 1 mana, 1 card for 1 creature. So I guess what my dream here is 3 mana, 1 card, 3 creatures. But hey, effectively that's kind of card draw. You're getting back the stuff you've already used. Shadows of the Past. Now, deck number 426 and 427 are... I didn't realize how close they were, but I've already got 427 done. Shadows of the Past makes an appearance in both. But, yeah, there's a lot of crossover between them. But here, yeah, that activate ability, I mean, you may use it to close out a game if somebody's at the last few points of life, but whenever a creature dies, scry 1, you could pretty well find what you want that way. Sadistic Glee. Hey, did we just find something for the Harbinger? Right? I love this. I love Sadistic Glee just to get that massive 1/1 counters when you kill something. Now, when I was building, I kind of felt like we needed something. I kind of felt like it was a little weaker than I wanted to. So I was like Phyresis and Glistening Oil. Because, now, granted, Phyresis and Glistening Oil, it'd be awesome if I had like a Pestilence Demon in here, because that's, oh god, that's so funny. But, it's, tis what it is. We have a commander with built-in evasion. Might as well, right? Now we get to our sorceries, which is our last category here. Disturb Burial, you know, it's got buyback, but for 5 mana, I don't know. There may be better cards. This is probably an awesome Living Death deck. If I had any more Living Deaths, that would probably be a good thing. Rise from the Grave, of course. Price of Betrayal, some removal. Diabolic Tutor, everybody knows what that does. Bubbling Muck, the Black High Tide. Just, it's a sorcery. Read the Bones for some card draw. The Elder Spell. Yeah, that's right. I have no walkers in here. I don't care. It's so good. I mean, even if you can just nerf 1 Planeswalker, you did it for 2 mana. Before the set came out, it cost 3. Hey. Ether Snap. I guess I went all in on the Planeswalker hate with this deck. I don't know. Well, I guess it seems like there's a lot of decks that if you are heavy into walkers, you're not heavy into creatures. Or the creatures you've got are, you know, Elspeth's tokens or Garrick's tokens, whatever. But Phyrexian Tribute, you know, to murk an artifact, and you get to sack 2 creatures. So this is actually a thing you want to do to accomplish a thing you want to do. And our last card is Spoils of War. Now, let's read it. For those of you listening to this, you know, on the car ride to work. Put X 1/1. It costs X and a black. You put X 1/1 counters on any number of target creatures, distributed any way you choose, where X is equal to the number of creatures and artifacts in target opponent's graveyard. Now, in a deck where your commander is it's not a Wrath of God. Essentially, your commander's a Black Sun Zenith in your command zone. You're going to be killing things. They're going to have creatures in their graveyard, and to be able to just, you know what? This guy's going to get the job done. Whoever this guy is, whatever you happen to have, if it's your Hunted Horror, if it's your Massacre Girl with her menace, however you get there, this is a win con. I do believe. Or if you just want to be funny, you throw it all in the Harbinger of Night. And but anyway, that's what I have got for Massacre Girl. It was kind of a challenge to build. I'm trying to crank out all of these. Let's see. I've got four War of the Spark decks left. One of them is done. I'll be recording that shortly as well. But trying to get those done before the actual Modern Horizons comes out. I've got a couple Modern Horizons decks already in. Well, all of them are in various stages of being built, except for Kess. I'm not building Kess because I built Kess way back when she came out for us. They just put Kess in the set so there could be non-fulls out there for the 60 card folks. But I appreciate y'all watching, but I think right now it is definitely time to shuffle and cut.